Not every YouTube show that covers college football is going to talk about the other schools in the SEC. Naturally, audience engagement is going to be at an all-time high whenever you see the Alabama logo or the LSU logo or anything in the title that mentions Georgia. But when you do what Kentucky's been doing on the transfer portal trail, you're going to have to give them their flowers. So let's talk about what's been going on in Lexington since the end of the regular season. If you are new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, plus coaching searches, the transfer portal, national championship news, bowl game status, and a bunch of other nonsense, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts on what's been going on in Lexington. Seriously, Mark Stoops, how the hell you doing it? Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, your best of bros, Wildcat fans, and college football aficionados everywhere about this channel, because we're on the race to 1,000, then 10,000, then 25,000, then 100,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get there. So jump on in while the water's fine. Give me a follow on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. We talk college football over on Twitter nonstop, and we don't have to have the conversation end just because the video does. So Kentucky, let's talk about the Wildcats. They're a good team. They are always a very fundamentally sound team. And that's a testament to what Mark Stoops has done. I actually consider him one of the more underappreciated coaches in college football. And there's a lot of A&M fans that would politely disagree with me. Hate to break it to you. You would have loved to have Mark Stoops in College Station. But he stays in Lexington, and now it looks like he's building a team that could emulate very similar structures to what was run in 2021. And that's a big deal because if you want to get back to that pedigree, you want to get back to that persona where games against Florida, games against Tennessee, games against Arkansas or Missouri or whoever the hell else you play next year, they're going to lean more toward your favor and you coming out on top. Because now in a 12-team playoff, anything is possible. All you got to do is just get to 10-2, and knowing with that SEC branding, you're going to go far. You're going to draw in a lot of interest. But let's be real for a second. Kentucky is not one of these prime destinations for five-star talent. Now, that does not mean you can't land a five-star every once in a blue moon. It happens everywhere. Like Houston landing Ed Oliver back in 2017. Who the hell would have expected that? But lo and behold, that's a school that got him. That's a school that developed him. And that's a school that turned him out into a five-star future first-round talent. The same thing goes for Kentucky. You'll land the 3 stars. You'll land the 4 stars. And every once in a blue moon, you'll get a 5-star. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to compete alongside Alabama or Georgia or LSU or maybe even Texas A&M, now Texas and Ohio State and Michigan and these other premier programs that just countlessly seem to be able to go into the Rolodex and say, I want you, and you via the recruiting trail. So how do you adapt to that? Well, plain and simple. You work the transfer portal. And that is exactly what Mark Stoops has done once again, to where it feels like the culture and the pedigree of the Wildcats is trending upward for 2023. Yeah, you landed yourself a quarterback in Brock Vandagriff. We've already talked about that. There'll be a link for the video up top somewhere. That's a good move. It's a quarterback that has SEC experience, has gone in practice against some of the best players that you will ever see enter the SEC, and has thrived and prospered. And just because if you can't make it on the field in Athens doesn't mean you're not a solidified quarterback. And more importantly, now you get to work with Liam Coen. And Liam Coen turned Will Levis into a potential first-round pick. I think a lot of people forget that when he left to go back to the LA Rams, regression set in Lexington, and that's why he fell to the second round. But the two emulate each other extremely well. So you get that version back in the works with Liam Coen, 9 wins, 10 wins, 11-1. I'm not turning anything out. This is a quarterback that was a 5-star for a reason. And just because if he couldn't reach the field in Athens doesn't mean he's not a solidified player. Now, what was another thing that you had when Will Levis was there? A solidified number 1 receiver. And you might have 2 coming to Lexington now, because we already know that Raymond Cottrell, the former Texas A&M player, has already committed to Kentucky Blue for 2024. But more so, you're adding in yet another player. How many of you know the name Jamori Maclin? My apologies for the pronunciation, but Jamori Maclin, former Missouri player, goes to UNT, has a pretty productive year. No, not a pretty productive. I would say actually a damn good productive year. Finishes with over 1,000 receiving yards, 57 catches, averages 17 6-point yards per play. Oh, and 11 touchdowns. So you want that mean green fight machine wearing the mean Kentucky blue next season, and he's going to be your new number 1. So now you add in two premier wide receivers for the outside, one of which has all the potential to be a superstar and one that is a proven commodity at the Conference USA level. Let's see what he can do with the second go around in the SEC. And just to add more to the pile, you brought in Chip Trayanum from Ohio State. Now, Chip Trayanum wasn't the lead running back for the Buckeyes, but he did have a pretty significant play. How many of you remember week 4? Notre Dame, 1 yard line, game expiring. Chip Trayanum's the one that found his way into the end zone for the score and kept the undefeated season alive and well in Columbus. And now knowing what you have with this running back tandem, you're going to be able to fortify your trenches even a bit more. And more importantly, this is going to take pressure off of Brock Vandagriff. And I don't think Kentucky's done. You look at what Kentucky can do and what Kentucky could be in the not so distant future. This is a team that has all the capabilities of doing what Missouri did last year or what Ole Miss continuously is doing. They're selling the program as a place of, hey, we know that we're not going to land 5-star talent right away, but what we do is we take former 4-stars, former 5-stars, and transform them into quality players that will find their way to an NFL roster on Sundays. You want to be a part of that? Strap on up and let's get to work. That's the persona of what you have underneath Mark Stoops in Lexington. And more importantly, that's what you get and what you try to emulate each season. Look at the years of when you were able to get a quality quarterback leading the charge. 10 wins is not off the table. 11 wins should not be off the table. And knowing what Kentucky is going through in a brand new version of the SEC, you need proven commodities, but you also need players who can elevate your status just a slight bit, turning a loss into a win along the process. Devin Leary was supposed to be the answer at quarterback, but unfortunately, he didn't see eye to eye with Liam Coen. That doesn't mean that Brock Vandagriff won't, and it doesn't mean that you can't get quality play from Trayanum, from Maclin, from Cottrell, or from wherever else you add in the transfer portal. And I promise you this, you look at teams like Missouri, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, TCU, these other programs that are tier 2 trying to get up an extra notch in their conferences, Kentucky might have the best formula to say, we're proven, we've done this before, strap on up and let's get this show on the road. That's what works in Lexington. And now that you continuously see the development of the players, both offensively and defensively, the persona built around Kroger Field, and more importantly, the charisma of what you have with Mark Stoops leading the charge, it feels like Kentucky's one of those top bed destinations via the recruiting trail. Maybe you won't land a 5-star, but you could land a 4-star and a proven commodity that made a name for himself at the group of 5 level, ready to do the same in the SEC. Every move so far Kentucky has done in the transfer portal is a positive and a step in the right direction. And if they continue down this pathway, it's going to be hard-pressed to not say Kentucky's one of the biggest risers going into 2024. Kentucky Wildcats, watch out. They're pouncing for a shot at making the college football playoff. Thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.